Hi there, welcome to the Elated Real Estate channel. So glad you've joined us today. Hey, if you haven't already, we hope you'll subscribe and please share our channel with your friends, your family, your coworkers, anyone that you know that might benefit from one of our videos or watching multiple different ones. Maybe we're going to talk about the best time of year to sell your home. I get asked this question a lot. The best time of year to sell is spring. It basically boils down to economics. But before we dive into that, let me share with you some of the things that can affect the price that you get and the time of the year that you'll sell. Number one, the interest rates. Those interest rates can really greatly affect the best time of year to sell and sometimes wash away when the rates are really low, the seasonality that we've seen. We've definitely seen that from 2021 all the way through mid to late 2022 where prices were just escalating very quickly. And then of course, when the interest rates go up, we saw a sharp fall off in July of 2022, maybe June of 2022, when rates went from, and being in the low threes and maybe even lower than that for a lot of people, up into the sixes and even sevens as of recently. But other things like elections and any other economic conditions and news going on in the market can definitely affect the best time of year to sell. The main thing is it's a basic economic equation. And so it's supply and demand, the most basic concept in economics, supply and demand. And let's talk about it. Let's look at what the Georgia First Multiple Listing Service shows us. We're going to look at new listings. So, wow, what I'm showing here is the greater Atlanta area in all price ranges, all property types. So both single family and condominiums and townhomes as well. All sizes, all number of bedrooms, all ages, all bathrooms. So we're going back to the maximum period that FMLS gives us for reporting currently, which is 2011, so about 13 years ago. So you can see that new listings are very seasonal. And I'm not the first person, of course, to come up with this philosophy. Many people know that the spring market, there's other things that drive these things, like people wanting to be in a certain area, or they're getting transferred at a certain time of year. Maybe they have kids in school and they're trying to find a new school district or change school districts or whatever the case may be. But you can see that seasonality definitely plays into that. You can see here, going back in, let's look at recent year, June of 2023, and the seasonality as it climbs through that chart there. And that's pretty evident every year. So the next thing we're going to look at is the volume of transactions. So number of closed sales is another word to describe that. And you can see the same seasonality going back to 2011. It's a sharp increase in each spring and early summer market, declining all the way back into February of the following year, and then climbing back up and going down again. And that's pretty historically true for the last 13 years and probably well beyond that as well. The next factor is days on the market. You can see that's we're going to do the average, not the median. As you can see, that's a very similar cycle. Wow, look at the ups and downs. And you can see our market, days on the market. I kind of think about, interestingly, on this, even though there's seasonality all the way back to 2011, and you can see that's evident with this up and down market. Days on the market goes down in that June-July timeframe as those closings take place. That's a lagging indicator to the volume of number of sales. And then you can see it climbs back up in the late to early part of the following year and goes back down. But isn't it interesting to look at this as the days on the market back in 2011, even on the low end, we're at 85. And now, we're down in the 15 was a record low for the last 13 years in June of 2022. So very interesting numbers to look at, but that shows that, again, that seasonality is reflective of that time of year to sell. And then percentage of sale to list price ratio, or percentage of list price. Let's just use the average percentage of list price. You can see that it's a little seasonal, not quite as exaggerated as some of the other factors we've looked at so far. But you can see in April of 2022, we were selling at over 103% of list price on average. So that's all, and that volume, a number of transactions was very large. we're doing that even at that large number. And then now we're trading it around the 99%. But you can see it's still relatively close together, within 1% in the trough of last year, the trough being the lowest point on December, or maybe even January at 98%, and now we're at 99%. So very close still, but still you'll see that gradually increase through the next market cycle going into our spring that we're looking forward to right now. So, and then the average sales price relative to the other parts of the year, I hear people a lot say prices are down. Well, prices will always be down on an average basis in the late to early part of each year relative to the spring market. So you want to watch for that, but that does justify that spring is the best time to sell a home. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the month supply of inventory. Even at that higher level of number of transactions and demand, you'll see that with the higher supply, you'll still see your month supply reflect that seasonality. And you can see that's true just by looking here. The November, you have a higher month supply this year than you do as we trend into the market months of spring. So hopefully this has been helpful. I think, regardless of when you sell, we're going to talk in another video that's coming up about things that you can do to increase your probability of selling. Certainly when you list your house in the latter part of the year, going into October, November, December, you want to make sure that you're priced correctly, that your condition is stellar, and you get your home ready to sell and show as easily and quickly as you can, so that you increase your odds of selling at a higher list price and in a quicker timeline if that's what your goal is. So hopefully, I hope you'll subscribe. Please share our videos with anyone that you think that might find them beneficial. Thanks for joining.